Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Kieran aka the Retrolad here, and today I've got a hardware review for you, but it's not a console, it's something a little bit different. It's a plug and play device, as you might already be able to see from the screen, and it is in fact this Orb Gaming's Retro TV Games. Plugs directly into your TV, features over 200 games, or includes over 200 games. Now, I got this as a Father's Day present, but I'd previously seen them in Mankind. There's probably other places that sell them as well, but I know that's where I saw this, and I'm pretty sure that's where this came from because my wife remembered me looking at it and being quite intrigued by it when I saw it in Mankind. I'll have a look what else is on the back of the box. So, there we go. It says relive hours of video game nostalgia with these mini TV games featuring 200 fun games. Simply connect your TV to play. Video game controller features 200 8-bit games. Connect controller to TV to play 3 times. AAA batteries required, not included. A thumbs up brand, apparently. 0 to 3 sad onions. So, yeah, I don't know who Orb Gaming is. I've never heard of them before, but if you look at those screenshots, I'm pretty sure they look quite NES-like to you, so you probably will not be surprised to learn that this is a Famiclone. Now I'll show you what it actually looks like, because I was quite surprised, even seeing the box. I wasn't expecting something quite this small. Now, as you can see, it is absolutely tiny. I mean, look at my hand on it. Little stick, 2 buttons, reset and start. The power plugs into the back there. There's a little light so you can see if it's actually on or not. An on-off switch. And that's it really. And you have to take that screw out to put the batteries in. And I didn't realise that it didn't have batteries at first, so I had to try and find some. But yeah, I'll show you a little bit about it. So obviously the menu doesn't show many games at one time, as you can see. That goes up to 8. If I press up, it goes to the bottom, and there's game 200. It's interesting that the front of the box says it has over 200 games, whereas the back of the box says it has exactly 200 games, and it does in fact have exactly 200 games. So I'm not sure why the front boasts it has over 200. A lot of the games have really stupid names, as you can see. Pressing the buttons actually does skip back and forward on the menu, as you can see. So you can kind of skip ahead to bits to have a look. Hit mouse, awful rushing, and I can assure you that game was really awful from playing it. I'll show you a few games in a minute, but another thing that I wanted to mention was I noticed about this is that although it's a Famiclone, I was expecting loads of the games to just literally be hacked NES and Famicom games. But it appears that nearly all of them are original. I've found a few that I think might be hacks, but most of the ones I've found are original. And another funny thing that I found is that a lot of these games, although this is a Famiclone and obviously sort of kind of based, so therefore based on the Famicom stroke NES, strangely, there's a lot of games on here that are similar to Atari 7800 games, which I found quite strange, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'll show you Aerial Warfare first of all, because I'm pretty sure this is one of them. It's trying to remember what games I came across. You have to remember to press the tiny little start button to select the game, and not a fire button. So there we go, Aerial Warfare. Most of the games have absolutely terrible music, I should warn you. So if I start this game, you'll see, anyone who's played on a 7800 will see this is incredibly similar to the 7800 game Desert Falcon. I mean, really, really, really similar. The isometric viewpoint, obviously, like Zaxxon, but the way the graphics are designed, it has this kind of desert look to it like Desert Falcon does. Nowhere near as good as Desert Falcon. In fact, it's pretty atrocious, to be in all honesty. But yeah, very very reminiscent of Desert Falcon, which is strange. And I'll show you another example because there are quite a few on here. Nutcracky. Now that probably has you going, I have no idea what that could possibly be, but yeah, must remember to press start and not fire button. And Nutcracky, see if you can recognise what it is. It's actually quite easy to spot as soon as you start the game, really. This is also easily one of the best games actually on the whole thing, by far. And the eagle-eyed among you will probably have noticed this is Food Fight with different graphics and not as good really, because it doesn't have the gameplay nuances of Food Fight. Because for example with Food Fight you have an ice cream which you've got to eat and it melts the whole time while you're playing, whereas this that princess will just sit there forever. So if you don't actually I was trapped at the beginning, that was good. So if you don't do anything and trapped again, you know, she will just continue to sit there and just do nothing. So yeah, the baddies don't appear to do a lot either. They're not particularly intelligent. So there you go. Food Fight, blatant, absolutely blatant. There was another one I noticed, and I'll see if I can find it. I like that title, Vanguard. It might have been this. I'm trying to think if it was that or something else. Well, it's actually Vanguard, obviously, but it looks like this is Vanguard. This might be the one. This is probably the best game I've played on it. Actually, this is actually pretty damn good. But this game is. I wasn't sure first if it was a hack of something like, for example, Tank by SNK, but it still reminded me a hell of a lot of Tank Command on the 7800. Very, very similar indeed. Very, very similar. But actually quite good. And I actually completed this one. So it's it hasn't got some of the ridiculous unfairness that some of these games have. You find a lot of games that weren't really thought through very well, and you know, unfair deaths, bad collision detection, all the things you would probably expect in kind of bootleg games that are probably programmed in Taiwan or somewhere like that. Who knows? But easily one of the best games on here, and the music isn't completely horrendous either. So that's that. So I'm going to go through this menu a little bit so you can see some other stuff here. Seaport Gold is actually supposed to be God. There's a lot of bad spelling mistakes on here. Utmost Warfare, Vigilant, Wild Worm, Video Poker, Apple Chess, Hit Mouse. So you're kind of getting a little idea of what's in here. There is a game on here that's one of the best games on here as well. I can't remember what it's called now, but there is one that is just Pooyan as well. So there is quite a few that are actually rip-offs of games. I haven't tried X Racing, so I'm going to have a look what X Racing is. I played a game when I first tried this to try and guess what the games were going to be, and actually I quite often got them wrong. A lot of the ones that you think, like sometimes this one, you know, by the names you kind of think that they're going to be rip-offs of old arcade games, most of them, and most of the time I got it wrong actually. The names aren't always a good guide. I was hoping this was going to be Rally X, but it appears to not be Rally X. But there are also in that 200, as you can probably guess, there's quite a few lazy games. So they've basically taken the same game and just changed the graphics and called it something else pretty much. And this is an example of that because I've already played a couple of games that are absolutely identical to this. So the other button breaks for some reason, even though it doesn't look like you need to break at all. So yeah, there's not really a lot to this, is there? Just drive up the screen and that's about it. It also seems to slow down when you get near another car, which is a bit weird. So yeah, that's absolute rubbish, really, isn't it? Incredibly simple and just a load of old rubbish. See, Crystal Ball, I remember thinking it was Arkanoid, and I don't think it was. No, it's some game where you have to just go around collecting stuff. But when you see that name, you think, oh, that's bound to be an Arkanoid ripoff. But no, it's just quite an easy game where you walk around collecting these balls. And that's it, really. There's not a lot to it. Let's show you a couple more games before we wrap this up, maybe. I like Police Dog Lassie. Well, you can't spell Lassie. I'll show you Seaport Gold. See, Seawolf, I was hoping was the arcade game Seawolf, and unfortunately it's not. So it's actually spelt wrong there as well, Seaport Gold. So that's interesting. This is a really simple game. It's just basically a boss battle. All you've got to do is shoot this ship. This is probably a good example of how simplistic some of the games are. And should you kill that ship, guess what happens? You kill the ship again, and that's basically it. That's all you do. Just kill the same ship over and over. There's a lot of like really simple games. There's actually a lot of games that are on this, again, same formula. It's one where they've changed the graphics quite a few times. Also, something I noticed about this system is that a lot of the games either seem to be tank based. They seem to very much like tanks. There's a lot of tank based games. Are animal based. They seem to very much like animals. They seem to be the two main themes, animals and tanks. I'm not sure why they like those so much. Fujiland, I think this is a horizontal shooter, so it shows you something a bit different, probably one of the more advanced games on here, but still it's an incredibly basic horizontal shooter. It's no R-Type or Gradius, that's for sure, but this is obviously what they were trying to go for, but yeah, not the best. So these things are quite cheap from what I remember. I actually can't remember. I think they were only something like 20 quid or something. So they certainly weren't expensive to buy at all. So for that price, there's actually quite a lot of fun to be had with it. Yeah, sure, in that 200, there's a hell of a lot of crap. But actually, it's really good fun going through and kind of rating the games one by one and just seeing what's bad and what's good. We had a right laugh with some of them because some of them are so utterly terrible. They just... They really do make you laugh. And the controller works better than you would think it would. It's actually fairly responsive, though I did find that the buttons sometimes get stuck down, which isn't great. But at least it works. It's more responsive than I expected it to be. I just wish it wasn't quite so tiny. So if you've got bigger hands than me, you might find it really awkward. But I reckon kids would like this, especially young kids would probably have quite a lot of fun with this because a lot of the games are there's a lot of games in here actually designed for kids. There's a lot of kind of educational style games. I can't replicate the buttons getting stuck down, which is a shame. There's a lot of those style of games in here. But there we go. Retro TV games. Not a bad little thing. Worth picking up if you see it for cheap, because there is actually a fair bit of fun to be had with it. And I hope you liked my review, and I will see you all again for another video very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.